quick. I set up the camera so it's not so bad. I think about right here is about, I think that's pretty good. It's usually where I set up the camera. Let's see, hopefully I don't, oh, I set up the camera so it's not so bad. I think about right here is about, I think that's pretty good. It's usually where I set up the camera. Let's see, hopefully I don't. Okay, I think that should be fine. I think it's a little too close. Let me pull this up just a little bit so you don't see so much of. There's no reason any of y'all need to look at my legs, right? So. Yeah, so I don't think there's any reason that any of y'all need to look at my legs, right? So. Alright, awesome. So I think that's a good thing. It's where we'll. So we're good to go, guys. Woo! Been fun. Been a good day. Been a good beginning to the week here. I don't know if you're still here. I just saw your question reel. I don't know if you're still on the stream or not, but if you are, I've been with CFI for 10 months. I don't know if that comment came in from a different video, but for some reason it came in on the stream. If you're here, been here for 10 months at CFI now. I think today or tomorrow will actually be exactly 10 months since I signed on with CFI. And it's been about it's been almost 11 months since I left for Crowder, which happened to be wearing the Crowder shirt today. But it was almost 11 months ago, because I think it was the first or second week of November that I went to Crowder. I want to say it was the second week of November, so it's crazy to think about. It's crazy to think that it's already been like that. It's already gone by that quick. Hopefully the chat's coming pretty fast here. I know I had, the last time I did one of these, I had some issues with the chats, so hopefully I'm not missing anybody's chats right now. I'm trying to do this with the camera, using the outward camera, because the outward, or the camera on the back of the phone is a lot better than the one on the front. And so I try to use that camera, and then I use my iPad to be able to look at the questions and whatnot. So hopefully the questions are coming in pretty quick on the iPad. Hey, what's going on, country? I think it's the first time you joined one of the streams before, so it's good to see you here. How are you doing today, man? You're gonna have to bear with me just a little bit. I have a little bit of allergies. Been dealing with a little bit. I always deal with with a little bit of allergies when I go home for a little bit, and then I get back on the road, and it's like clockwork. Within the first like two or 3 days, my allergies start acting up again, and after I've been on the road for like a week or two, everything kind of evens out, and then of course I go home again, and then my allergies just start kicking up. That's kind of a byproduct of just ever-changing weather temperatures and going into different environments all over the damn country. So it's a good thing I don't have like terrible allergies, but my allergies do start acting up, and then I have to drink tons of water to keep me from getting dehydrated and whatnot. So they're a little bit heavy. They're a little on the heavier side today, so you might see me drinking a lot of water during the stream. Ah, Cameron, good to see you, man. Yeah, actually, this wasn't intentional. Um, I just pulled it out of my shirt bag, and it wasn't intentional to wear this on the stream, but I was like, you know, I decided to wear it today. I want to say I bought this shirt on, it was either the last day of class or it was like one of those, it was either the last day or the day before the last day of class, and I was with my roommate there in Crowder, and I was like, I'm gonna go buy a t-shirt, man, because at this point I think we had gotten our certificates, and so I was like, I think I'm gonna go ahead and buy a t-shirt now, because we're kind of alumni now. And so he came along with me, and he bought a shirt too. I think he even bought a bandana, but I just wanted at least one shirt. I wanted to buy at least one shirt. So, oh, Country, you're a new trucker as well. How long have you been trucking for? And who do you truck for, Country, if you don't mind me asking? Yeah, Cameron, I figured that during that time or that day that if I didn't buy a shirt then, I probably would never get another chance to, because when was the next time I was ever gonna go back to Neosho, Missouri? So I just kind of thought to myself, like, I was never gonna go back to Neosho, Missouri. So what, you know? So I might as well do it now, because and sure enough, you know, 10 months later, almost a year later, and I've never gone back to Neosho at this point. I don't even know if I've passed through I think maybe one time I might have had passed through Neosho, but other than that, I mean, unless you're coming from a specific way to go to Joplin, you don't really ever need to go to Neosho unless you're like going to Neosho, like you're never really gonna pass through. Oh yeah, I've heard good things about Snyder's rookie program. It's kind of works similar as CFI and some of the other major carriers. It's pretty similar from what I've seen. So I'm assuming you'll go to school for a couple of weeks, and then you'll go training for a couple of weeks, and then they'll put you in your own truck. I'm assuming that's what you're going to be doing there at Snyder. I don't know how they're you would probably know this more than I would. I don't know how their starting pay differs from like what CFI offers rookies and student drivers and all that. Oh man, I'm in North Carolina right now, and it's actually really nice outside. There's a nice little breeze. You can tell that we're finally starting to get to the fall here, and it just feels really good outside right now. But this new truck, there's one thing I did notice from the other truck, is that this new truck is super insulated. So the temperature on the inside holds pretty well. So if I turn the truck off, it gets really warm in here. And even if it's like, I mean, I haven't experienced what it is in freezing temperatures yet, but from what I was used to, if I turn the truck off in the other truck, if it was even remotely cold outside, like even chilly, it would get real cold in here without me having to have the AC on. But here, even in this truck, if I turn it off completely, and it's like 60 degrees outside, it's super warm in here. So like, even though it's nice and cool outside, it gets super warm in here if I turn the truck off, because it's not quite in that like freezing, like cold temperatures yet. So I have to keep the AC on right now. It's probably why my allergies are all crazy right now. Man, you've just been visiting all of those Heartland Express yards lately. But I haven't been to one. I was thinking yesterday, because I was passing through Atlanta, and I just saw the other day that I guess we got the approval to start using the Atlanta yard or the Atlanta terminal there, the Heartland Express one in Atlanta. And I thought about going there last night when I was gonna stop, but I ended up stopping like maybe like an hour before Atlanta because I didn't want to deal with evening traffic in Atlanta, so I just ended up stopping. So one of these days I'll get to a Heartland Express one and I'll check it out. I mean, since you've been there, Cameron, do they have like? I'm assuming they have like showers and stuff like that that we can use. But do any of the terminals have like wash bays where we can get our trucks washed and stuff like that? That's interesting. The one thing I will say, you do have to be careful with who you call nowadays, because you never know what lines you're calling, or what accidental phone number you may call that might get routed to a bot or to a sea of agents that doesn't sound like you're talking to someone that actually works for the company. Oh, that's super nice, Cameron. But anyways, what I don't know right now is because of the transition with Heartland Express. I'm assuming that the CFI recruiting department is still the same. I don't think it's changed at all. I always tell people that ask me that are interested in going to CFI, like use the contacts that I give you. I probably should make this a little bit more like public knowledge, and I might even put it in a community post. But I have the direct line to the recruiting department. That when you call, you'll go to a recruiter, and a recruiter will answer the phone. But I usually tell people to ask for Hunter. He's usually in charge of recruiting students. He doesn't really deal with experienced drivers, I don't think, but he deals mostly with students. Like, he was my recruiter, and he just emailed me like I think like 2 days ago, just to kind of reach out. But so I know he's still on the team, but I have their direct line, so I might share that because yeah, see, that's the reason that I don't necessarily like the online site. When I wanted to go to CFI, I just called the number, the 800 number that was on there, and then I immediately got a call back. Maybe not immediately, it took like a day or so, but I got a call back from Hunter, who ended up being my recruiter throughout the whole process. And he works like directly for CFI. He's not like a third party agent or anything like that. So I don't know, unless they've changed how they're doing their recruiting in the past year. But I think I'll do that just for. I mean, I know you're already going to Snyder, so it is what it is. But I think for future prospects, I'll go ahead and make a community post with the recruiting department's direct line, and just asking for Hunter will get you usually. You'll talk to an actual person, recruiter at CFI. You won't talk to any kind of like a third party agent or anything like that. Because when you talk to those kind of people, it's kind of hard to get a grasp on the companies because they don't technically work for the companies, or you know what I mean? Like, it's weird. So I can see where you may have felt may have been a little off-putting. Yeah, country. I mean, at the end of the day, everybody has their own opinions on all these companies, and what I have found just by talking with people and obviously continuing to read company profiles and reviews and stuff like that on a lot of different companies, I found that I mean, this just goes with anywhere, to be honest. Doesn't matter what job or business it is, or most of the time, it's that a lot of people just complain, and they'll complain for nothing. They'll complain for so many little things, and it's kind of funny because it can really deter you from taking a chance on something that may actually end up being a good thing. But a lot of the times you'll go in, you'll read these reviews, and you'll be like, it's like, I don't know about this, and then you'll decide you don't want to go, right? And that's why it's like, I mean, just go and look at CFI's like Glassdoor profile, and you'll see a lot of complaints. You'll see a lot of people complaining about CFI, and I sit here and I'm just like, it doesn't seem that bad to me. I mean, I get my miles, and yeah, could the pay be better? Sure it can, but that's with any job, right? The pay can always be better anywhere. But I mean, I think the miles are good. They don't pressure you to do anything you're not supposed to. As long as you keep your line of communication open, it's very easy to fix problems or potential problems. And if you need your equipment fixed, they're usually pretty quick about about turning it around and getting you back on the road. As long as you keep your communication lines open, that's kind of the key. But and so yeah, so it's very tough sometimes when you want to base things reading off of things like reviews and stuff like that. And then of course, the same thing when you're calling companies that have recruiting departments, you do have to kind of be able to try and separate these people that are being honest and the people that are just bullshitting you, or that you can tell, or you have to kind of be able to figure that out. That's really tough, because some people are just really good salesmen, and they'll sell you a crap flavored lollipop, and they're just good like that sometimes. So it can be kind of tough out here, but I'm very happy with the decision that I made with CFI. I think I've gotten everything that I've wanted to get out of it thus far, so I cannot complain about it. But as far as picking other companies are concerned, I think it's all to the eyes of the beholder, right? I mean, I wish you the best of luck at Snyder. And obviously, the way that I see it sometimes is they've been around for a long time, so they must not be doing that bad, right? Like, it must not be that terrible. And it's the same thing. It's the same thing with Swift. People have their really harsh opinions about Swift, but I can't really say anything about them because I've never been through their training program. I don't know what it's like. I don't know what their people are like, but they're out. But Swift continues to do business, and their footprint is huge. And so, are they doing that much wrong, or is it just a handful of people? Like a handful of people that are just fucking up all the time, and because they have a big Swift logo posted on their trucks and on their trailers, they're the ones that get pointed out. I don't know. Yeah, Cameron, I mean, to be honest with you, I don't know. I don't know yet, because it's hard to tell, because I don't really know how to gauge my worth at this time, because I haven't gotten to the 1 year mark yet. So it's hard to kind of gauge what my worth really is in the industry just yet. I mean, I can get an idea, but you don't really know until you have that, and then you can take it and actually have people throw offers in your face or whatever, right? Like throw like real offers that you're ready to sign on the dotted line with, and say, okay, that sounds good to me. Because right now, my worth to companies out there right now is 10 months. They're not, so I'm not, so if I go out and try to find another job now, which I'm not going to right now, but if I do, I'm gonna get offers, and my value is gonna be 10 months of driving experience to other companies, right? So it's hard for me to say off of that, like to say, well, I don't know. But after a year, when I can tell people, okay, I've been on the road for a year, clean driving record, clean, clean DOT inspections, all of that. And if I start getting really, really just wow, like offers that just blow me away, that just blow my mind, it's gonna be a sitting down and considering my options and seeing where I go. I haven't made that decision yet, though. I don't know. I like CFI, and like I mean, at least for me personally, they've been really good to me. I mean, they just put me in this brand new truck, and God, not to say that my mood was like kind of like not like it was bad before I got into this truck, but after being in that truck for for 9.5 months or whatever it was, it starts to weigh on you a little bit, the difficulties that the truck starts giving you and stuff like that, and how it's just kind of frustrating sometimes and all that. But ever since I moved into this thing, it's like I just feel like in such a good mood, like in a really, really good mood, and I enjoy driving this truck right now, and it's been so much fun and so cool to play around with the new features of the truck and just do some different things that I couldn't do with the other truck. So it's kind of neat to have that, and just feeling like that extra sense of comfort in a space that is clean, hasn't been abused or anything like that. It really just heightened my mood lately. And so it's one of those things, right, that it's like you can leave a company for more pay, but are they going to put me in a 2023 Kenworth? Probably not. But it's just, I don't know, it's just things you got to think about, right? Like what matters to you. And I guess when I'm telling you this, I'm kind of telling that to myself, like what matters to me more when it comes to this. And I don't know, those are just things I'll have to kind of sit down and look at, because if I were to put my name out there and I got like presented this offer that was just like, it's one of those, it's an offer you can't refuse, and you take it to a CFI and they're just like, we can't match that, sorry, then it's like, well, you have to make a decision that works best for you sometimes, right? So we'll see how it goes. I still got time, so. Right now I'm in North Carolina, and this load that I have is actually going to North Carolina, here in North Carolina. I'm about 50 miles away from the drop. The unfortunate part is that the place that I'm dropping to already closed for the day. They closed really early. They weren't open for too long Saturday, and they're closed tomorrow. So I won't be able to deliver this load until Monday. So yeah, I mean the unload was scheduled for Monday anyway, so it's not like I would have been able to get it unloaded today, even if I had gotten there early. They probably would have told me no anyways, but so it's all right. So I'll be staying here in North Carolina, in this Loves in North Carolina for probably, so I guess until Monday. So I'll have the rest of the night here to chill, and then I'll chill all day tomorrow. I already went grocery shopping the other day, so I don't even need to go grocery shopping now. So I'll probably just cook. Some food since I have some time, and I'm thinking it's been a while since I've done a cooking video. So I was thinking about doing a cooking video tomorrow. I'm gonna make, and it'll be a quick one. It'll be an easy one too. It's not gonna be a difficult one. It probably won't even really impress anybody, but for me, it's like I've never made this in the truck before. But I'm gonna make potato and egg spinach wraps. So I don't know if that sounds appealing, but I like potato and egg tacos. So I have like the spinach tortilla wraps that I bought. They're low carb ones. So I'm gonna make potato and egg. Wraps tomorrow. So I may or may not record me cooking those. I'm gonna try to spice up the potatoes a little bit to kind of add some extra little seasoning to them, see if I can spice up the potatoes from just being, normal plain potatoes. I'm gonna try to fry them with a couple of extra little spices here and there to kind of maybe spice it up a bit, change it up a little bit. I thought about getting a crock pot, but I think honestly my next purchase for cooking stuff is gonna be an air fryer, because I already have I have an electric skillet. I have a butane burner that I can use outside of the truck, and then I have a rice cooker, and then I have a microwave. So I have plenty of cooking options. The reason that I probably wouldn't buy just a crock pot is because it's just, like, I mean, you can do a lot of things with a crock pot, but it is a lot of work to use, to put everything in the pot and then to leave it sitting for so long. And I don't know, I feel like an air fryer is the better choice here at this point, to me at least. I feel like I might be able to do a little bit more and quicker with an air fryer. I've been interested in air fry cooking. When you mean the Tractor Supply overnight runs, do you mean like picking up at the DC and then going to a store? Like, what do you mean by the overnight runs? If you don't, I think that's what you mean, but I just want to make sure that's what you mean. Sorry, I got my iPad like right here, so I'm kind of like, that's why I'm looking down like that. And I don't want to put it right here because then you get like, you're gonna see just blasted, like, because the background's white on the chat. So you're probably just seeing nothing but white on my face right now, so I try to keep it on the side. You too, country. You stay safe out there, man. And good luck to you. Good luck to you out there in Snyder. Oh, and if you're, I think you said that you were doing it before you go, country. I think you said you were going to Green Bay to do it. If you're not from the area, take plenty of winter clothes, because it gets cold as shit up there. But Cameron, yeah, I don't know. Those to me are like, I have a love-hate relationship with those runs, and the biggest reason is because some of them are really short, and it really just kind of screws with your day, in my opinion, to be honest. Right now, unless it's going to be a run that oh man, country, yeah, definitely take thick winter clothes. Invest in long johns. If you don't have long johns, invest in long johns, and take some, like, I'm being dead serious here. Buy some boots if you don't have boots, like thick boots that'll protect your feet, and a nice insulated warm jacket, and heavy insulated gloves, because although you think in trucking you're not going to have to do a lot of stuff outside, even just those like 10 minutes of being outside, like unhooking and hooking the trailer and lifting the landing gear and all that, your hands will freeze if you don't have the right gloves. That's exactly what happened to me. I brought like really like dinky little like normal mechanics gloves that were just normal, thickness, like not really, and my hands were freezing after like 5 minutes. Like, I felt like they were gonna fall off. So yeah, take warm winter clothing with you. I mean, I don't know. Check the temperatures out in Green Bay. It's in Wisconsin, and once October hits, that area in Wisconsin, it's like it could be like nice and 60 one day, and then it could be 20 degrees the next day. It could just be a nice little cold front that comes from Canada, and then next thing you know, you're in like 10-degree weather like the next day. uh, but back to those Tractor Supply ones. I don't know, man. What I don't like about them is that some of them tend to be really short. Like they're like, some of them that I've gotten are like 200, 300 mile runs, and it's like, oh man, that's lame, because you can only do 300 miles and then you're done for the day, and you're just sitting there the entire time until you get unloaded. Now, if you get those ones like you said, like those overnight runs where you will be running from about 8 to 4 in the morning, I don't necessarily hate those. But another thing that I hate about them is, I will say this though, they tend to screw with like your sleep a little bit, because if you get there, you still have to like you'll have to account that you're gonna have to take a 10 at some point, right? Like, so I don't know. There's just been scenarios where sometimes I won't even be able to take a 10, if that makes sense. Like, I'll have to just take an 8 and then let them unload me and everything, and then go to where I'm gonna go to next, or go and take a nap somewhere. And they can be kind of wonky and real like weird and stuff. So I don't necessarily like them, but I don't hate them. Sometimes they're really easy, and sometimes they're just, sometimes depending on the time of the week and whatnot, and if I just feel like, oh god, I've been riding really hard these past 3 days, a 300-mile run sounds kind of good. Doesn't sound too bad. And I guess on those days I don't really mind it too much, but on the weeks where I'm like I'm trying to make some money this week, like, don't give me like 3 Tractor Supply loads back to back to back, because god, I'm not gonna get any miles on those. I'm not gonna get anything unless you're gonna have me go back and forth, then it makes sense, because then I'll be able to track the mileage pretty good at that point, and it won't be a big deal. But it happens a lot. It happens to me a lot in Waco. A lot of the times I'll end up, if I'm gonna be anywhere around the Waco area, they're more than likely to give you a Tractor Supply load, more than likely. Another thing I don't like about those Tractor Supply runs sometimes is that some of the stores just suck when it comes to the areas, their docking areas and whatnot. Some of them just plain out suck, and it's like, how can you even think that a truck could fit back here? I mean, I guess that's not only Tractor Supply. There's a lot of other places that are like that, but those stores sometimes, like where they built them and where they're at, it's like, oh my god, it's so awful. And then of course, a lot of the times you'll go to a Tractor Supply, and depending on what time you get there, depends on whether or not you're going to be able to have a bathroom to use, or if you feel like you're not going to be in a very comfortable area. You're going to have to be like with your eyes behind your head open. I've been in some of those situations, some of the Tractor Supplies. I'm like, ooh, this area does not look very nice. And, ooh, big old red truck here, just letting everyone know that I'm here by myself, in this dark alley in the back. Like, okay. But yeah, sometimes I don't mind them though. Like, they're all right. I haven't gotten one of those in quite some time, to be honest with you. It's been a while. I think I got a Tractor Supply load. What was it? I think it was maybe a week before I went on home time. I think they had me do one. Can't even really remember. Oh, want to say it was like a week before I went home. So probably sometime last month, I guess, is when they gave me one to do. And it wasn't even in Texas, it was somewhere else. Can't even remember where it was. I think it might have been Nebraska. I think. Can't quite remember. I think it was Omaha, Nebraska. I think that's where I think I delivered to a Tractor Supply store in Omaha. That one, I think, was kind of nice. I think the dock area wasn't, it was in a very nice location with a lot of room to dock it, if I'm not mistaken. Trailer problems, I don't really run into too many trailer problems, to be honest. Very, very, very rarely. And the only times where I've had trailer problems was kind of when I first started. I think in that first month, I had a blowout on one of the tires, and that was something that happened. I think like the first couple of weeks that I was out on my own, and then I think I've had like a total of like 2 blowouts on trailer tires since I've been out here, and that's about it. I don't think I've had any other problems with trailers before out here. I typically, as long, I check, I obviously do a whole entire pre-trip check on every time I pick up a trailer, and if I feel like something even remotely looks kind of questionable, I feel like I need to go ahead and call roadside, I'll call roadside before I even take off with it. If I feel like it's something that's like, I don't know about this, that doesn't look good to me, then I'll get it taken care of before I even start the trip. But I've never had really any problems with trailers. They're usually pretty good. Even the ones that are like, even if you're picking up a loaded, like I'm not even just saying just empties. Like if you're picking up a loaded that looks kind of, I don't know about that, then I usually call roadside and a road service, and I get them to take care of it before it could become a problem. And I typically always do that. And if I pick up a trailer, right, and I go and do a tire check, and I notice, oh my God, like, because if you're rolling double or a double sets, then you got 8 tires to worry about on the trailer, right? Four on each side. So if I end up looking and I count like that, at least like three of them have like extreme grooving on the tires and whatnot, then I will more than likely go to a shop, TA or Love Service Care or whatever, and I'll have them switch out the tires. Or when I stop for the night at anywhere that I'm at, I'll call roadside and I say I got like 3 or 4 really extremely grooved tires on this trailer that I need to get changed, and they'll come and do it, and they'll do it while I'm at, if I'm not at a stop that has a service area. So typically I'm able to dodge a lot of the like potential bad trailer problems. Dude, as far as the tractor was concerned, surprisingly, I didn't have that many bad problems with it, and it was very far and in between. So like, once they worked out all the kinks from when I first got the truck, I don't think that I had a problem with it until I think it was maybe like within the first 2 months of me having the truck. The turbo acculator that's connected to the turbo, that went completely dead, and we had to get that replaced, so that shut me down for the weekend. And then after that, it was another probably like 2 months or so, maybe 2 or 3 months, and then Oh, and yeah, and then I got that SCR code. That was probably even more than that. It was probably like maybe 3 or 4 months after that. That SCR code on the fuse box, or that fuse box, broke or whatever, and that SCR code came out, and that put me in the shop in uh, in Beaumont for the weekend. They had to replace that at the Kenworth too, and then again about another maybe 2 or 3 months again after that. Then that's when I had problems with the I had problems with two air chambers on the drives of the tractor, and those got replaced in the same day. That only shut me down for like maybe 4 or 5 hours. And then the most recent thing before I got the new truck was one of the air hoses near the brake chamber on the drives got a hole in it, so it was leaking air out of it. Once again, that was like a overnight in Seagoville. Next morning they fixed it pretty quickly. So, and then that was it. Other than that, there was no more like breakdown problems or major issues. There was just other little things with it that I think were just more attributed to how much mileage already was on the truck at that point. And it had to do with things like really rough power steering. When backing up, the power steering would get really stiff, and I would have to like really like turn the wheel, and almost felt like I didn't even have power steering anymore. And the same thing with turning. Sometimes it would do that when you would turn, but I looked at the power. I always brought it up to them. They said there didn't like there was anything wrong with the power steering. Like it was fine. It did have a little bit of a leak on the bottom of the reservoir, but when I took it in to do a PT or a PM, I told them about it and they patched it up there. So it wasn't really a breakdown because I was already going in for a PM anyways. So. But I know for some people they've had different problems here and there. I think honestly, considering my situation and whatnot, I feel like I got really lucky with that truck because there's a lot of things that could have happened with that truck during the time that I had it, and it didn't happen. Like no, like just major like boom, this thing's dead kind of things. Like a couple of things here and there, but nothing like over. Oh, the thing with the batteries too. I mean, I forgot about that. That thing with the batteries happened, and the batteries like started getting like dying and whatnot. But and then the whole thing with that, a lot of that had to do with user error on the reconnection of the new batteries. And that's the only reason that I got towed that night back in Illinois. Yeah. That was the only reason that I got towed to a Kenworth that night, was because the person at the TA didn't connect the new batteries together correctly, and so it drained the only two batteries that I was using. Otherwise, if that wouldn't have happened, I wouldn't have had that problem. I wouldn't have gotten towed that night. Yes, they do. They keep records. The shop does. And I think when you're getting really close to your PM, they will go ahead and either have you go to Joplin or to one of the shops to do it, or depending on where you're at and how soon the PM's coming, they may tell you to go and do your preventative maintenance at a TA or at a Love's Care. Typically, what will happen though is you'll probably end up going like to Joplin for something, and they'll tell you like, oh, it looks like you're about 1,000 or like 1,000, 2,000 miles away from a P or due for a PM. You want to go ahead and get that done now, and then you'll usually end up doing it that way. If you want to find out like for yourself though how close you are, you can send a message on the tablet, and someone in dispatch or someone will message you and say that you're due for a PM in such and such miles. I think it's like every like 50,000 or something like that. I think I think every 50,000 you're due for a PM. I could be wrong about that number, but I think it's like every 30 or every 50,000 miles you're due for a PM. But also, Cameron, if you feel like you're having a lot of little small issues with the truck and you really want to get them all looked at, just tell your fleet manager, and they should be able to highlight you to go to Joplin to get that work done if you're really concerned about it, even without being close to needing to having to get a PM done. As long as you tell your fleet manager, like, these are all the issues that are going on with the truck that's starting to concern me, is there any way you can highlight me to go to Joplin soon? And then or he or she will highlight you to go to Joplin, and you'll probably get there in like a week. It's still pretty soon, but then again, depending on the truck that you got, I don't know when was the last time they did a PM on it, right? Like the only way you would know is by asking the shop and asking them while you were there in Joplin. But I think you can send a message on your tablet, and someone should tell you when you're due for a PM. But if you feel like I was saying, if you feel like there's a lot of concerning issues with your truck, I would just let your fleet manager know, and they can probably send you back to Joplin to go and get those things remedied and fixed. Joplin's usually the best place to go to get like all that stuff done. There at the main shop and whatnot. Seagoville's alright, but you'll be there for days sometimes. And then I really don't know, like, I don't know what the shops at these Heartland Express deals are like. That'll be interesting if we can start utilizing the shops at these Heartland Express locations. I don't know how they're going to differ from how CFI shops have worked in the past, so I don't know how that's all going to work. Like, that'll be pretty interesting to see. Like, I'll definitely be interested to see how all that works going forward. I'm excited about being able to use the wash bays and whatnot. Like, that'll be pretty cool. I'll be right back. I'm just gonna go right here and grab me another bottle of water here real quick. Sorry, a little parched. Oh wow, huh? That's kind of crazy. Those older trucks, man. You don't know who drove them before you. You don't know how they drove, and if they drove really, really bad and messed up a bunch of things, and then turned in the truck that be kind of suck, right? Jeez. That's the nice thing about getting into a new truck that nobody else has touched before. Is that you know that you can drive it the way you're used to driving it, and you know that anything that is caused by you was caused by you and not somebody else, right? I guess it's a good thing and a bad thing. It just depends on how you drive your truck and whatnot. the previous owner, they might have hit a bunch of curbs. They might have hit they might have had run over a few things, or they may have turned the wheel all the way, like every single time, like overturning, and that's a good way to wear out the bearings and all that, and really kill the power steering if you keep turning the wheel too, like all the way where it starts making that grinding noise. I don't know if the power steering pump was replaced on my old truck, but I think there was an airline hose that was replaced, because it looked brand new when I got it. And I was like, oh, that looks new. But yeah, it's one of those, like, no matter where you go, it's like you get given the older truck, and it's like your probation initiation period. They want to see, obviously they're not going to give new trucks to people that just came out of school and that don't have any. And I mean, and even what I've seen too is that even if you're an experienced driver and you're going from one company to another, they're typically not, the new company is typically not going to put you right into a, like a brand spanking new truck. They're still going to put you in one of the older ones, and then they'll do the same thing in a few months. It's kind of your probationary period, and then they'll put you in another truck. Very rarely have I seen where you change companies and you get put into a new truck like right from the get-go. I think they're more likely to put you in a newer truck because you have the experience. But if they have older trucks available, they're gonna put you in that truck first, no matter where you go. Unless you go drive for a company that only has new trucks, which not very many of those companies are out there. Man, I kind of went different with the lighting, by the way, for this stream. I figure it's October, it's spooky month, so I was like, maybe try a red color, a red ambiance, kind of spooky. And then if I turn off the lights, it looks really spooky in here then, right? With the little red ambiance there. Like, ooh, scary. But yeah, so I thought I would go with something different. I thought about also going like purple, but I thought, purple looks a little too, like, I don't know about the purple color. Like, this is the purple. It doesn't really look as spooky as I would have liked it. Like, there's two tones of purple. There's like this purple and then this purple. So I was like, like one of them looks more violet. Like, this is just straight up purple. But I was like, that doesn't really look scary to me. It looks more like, I don't know. This looks good for kind of a spooky theme. I don't know, man. After getting in this truck, like, I don't think I'd ever want to get back into a previous generation Kenworth. Like, I kind of like this new gen one, man. I'm getting spoiled with it, I tell you what. As far as these lights go, they're not hung up by anything. Like, I didn't use any like pins or anything to hang them up. The easiest thing that I did, and I would show you, but you're not gonna be able to really see it. But I have the lighting strip. Like, there's a little crease right here. Like, you probably can't see it, but there's a little crease right here in between the top and the bottom parts right here. Like, there's a crease right there. So all I did was just take the strip and I just kind of tucked it in a little bit, like all across. Like, some of it's like not like flush, right? And so I kind of like tucked it in between the little crease here, and then that's how I have it all the way around. and that's how I was able to get it to stick, to stay like where it's at. Because otherwise, I mean, the adhesive that was on the back of them, it doesn't stick to the leather, because the leather gets real, like it gets moisture on it from just, you know, the condensation in the truck and whatnot. So it's never like completely dry. It gets kind of oily, you know, with the moisture. So the adhesive doesn't stick to it. So the best thing that I figured out was, well, just put the strips a little bit into the creases all the way around, and it'll stay in there. Sure enough, that's the result of that. So I was able to figure that out. Otherwise, I don't know how I would have had to put things like I would have had to hold it with like either like staples or pins, and I didn't really want to poke holes into the leather. So I was like, well, instead of doing anything like that, and then I definitely didn't want to use like glue and stuff, because glue will leave residue all over the place, and it's just gonna look like shit when I'm done with it, right? So I was like, I don't want to do that. But I figured that out, so I started kind of tucking it in a little bit, and it worked out. And this setup that I have, it's actually two strips. You wouldn't have even really been able to tell had I not told you that. But it's two strips that meet in the middle right here. So one strip goes from one side up this way down to the middle, then the other one goes from over here up to the middle. So I think there were Monster brand LED strips that I bought from Walmart. I think they were like $10 each, and they really help out with the lighting in here, especially if you're gonna have the especially if you're gonna use your truck with the bunk down. Then you won't, you know, with the bunk down, you won't be able to use the you know, the cab lights up here, because, you know, because you have all this coverage here. So when you don't have these lights, this is the problem that I was like, this kind of sucks, because you know, it's like really, really dark over here, and there's not really, and the only way you can get light over here if you don't have this is using like the side light, which is bright as hell. So you can turn this thing on, but then it's like, it's too freaking bright. Like, you look at it, you go blind. It's like, so you either have to point it up or point it down, and then it's just like, it's kind of an annoying light. It doesn't look that good. So I thought of the LED idea, and I'm sure I'm not the only person to think of this idea. It's not like I'm being innovative or anything, but I thought, well, having this would be a lot better, because it lights up everything, and it pretty much lights up my whole entire bed area, where I can see everything that I'm doing here. So, and then it's just cool, because, you know, you have different colors and whatnot, so you can make it flash, you can make it strobe. Like, I thought that was kind of cool. I can strobe it. I haven't done the strobe in a while, and so I thought that was kind of cool, you know. Like, I like fun things like that. So, but yeah, I thought of that idea, and I was like, well, you know, because at first, when I first moved into the truck, I wasn't using the top bunk. You know, I always had the top. I mean, y'all saw before. I always had the top bunk up, and I had posters and stuff on here, and so I was able to use the cab light on the top. So it never really was a big deal. But now I'm using the top bunk for the second fridge, and just, you know, I figured if I was going to use it for the second fridge, I may as well put stuff up here, you know, put some more stuff up top, extra storage space and whatnot, kind of open up the bottom a little bit, instead of having it clutter like I did in the other truck. So now that I have that, I definitely needed these lights to be here, or else it gets really freaking dark. So, but it's cool. I like that I can change the colors and everything, and I can make it bright or make it not so bright. And then I got another box of LEDs that my friend gave me. What did I do with them? Oh, I put them over here. They're over here. A friend of mine gave me a 16-foot strand of LEDs. But these are more like ambience color ones, so I don't think they do like bright white like these do. So with these, I'm thinking that I might either put them around my monitor, or I might put them around my desk area back here, and then just kind of have some kind of ambient lighting. This is more just for like to light up the actual space, but these I think I might use for ambient lighting. So I think that would be pretty. I think that could be pretty fun to play around with here. And my posters and stuff that I had before, I have them in a box up here in the top bunk. I have a little flat box. I don't think I'm gonna put them back up because I don't even know where to put them anymore now that I'm using the top bunk. And then I don't know if I don't decide to stay in this truck long term, then I don't really want to go through the trouble of putting all that stuff up just so I can take it back down again. So I think I'm just gonna ex-nay on the posters at this point for now, which is kind of disappointing because I liked to have a lot of that decoration, but it's okay, it's fine. It's not the end of the world, right? To not have that. I was thinking about like trying to do some like Halloween decorations, but I know that like we can't really decorate the outside of the trucks. But I was thinking in the inside's full go, like it doesn't matter what the inside looks like, right? So I was thinking about putting something like in the passenger seat that, just some kind of decoration like that I can put that kind of faces on the inside of the passenger window. So if you're looking, like if you're looking to the passenger window, you see something on the other side, like a doll or something scary, right? I was thinking about doing something like that. I haven't quite decided what I want to do on that just yet, but I probably need to decide pretty quick because we're already almost 10 days into October, so I need to think about that fairly quickly. I think I want to make sure. I hope that there's not a lot of conversation going on in the chat because I haven't seen the chat update in a while. I'm just assuming that there's no activity going on in the chat. So I just wonder, as far as the fake spider web stuff, like I feel like that stuff might just fly away after a while, and I don't know, and it gets rained on and stuff too. Like, I think that'd be too much. I was hoping that, like, I mean, we can't do it because these aren't our trucks or whatever. They want to keep the image the same. But I wish I could put tie a Chucky doll or something like to the front of the truck. I mean, I've seen it done plenty of times, like all over the place. But it's a fun thing to do. You get a Chucky doll and you like bungee cord him to the front of the grill, and so he's just like there like this, like in front of your truck, like that just looks funny to me. Like I'm like, that's kind of funny, like that's cool though, like it's Halloween, I've thought of putting I've thought of like buying like one of those like human size like skeleton, like the plastic human size skeleton, and I thought about sitting it in the passenger seat next to me and like buckling them up. Would anybody get pissed about that? Like if I had like a skeleton in the passenger seat, like, and you can see them like through the window? Nobody would get mad at that, right? As long as I wasn't trying to use that as a HOV person, right? or like getting like a Michael Myers mask and buying the mechanics suit and like just stuffing it up and like putting it in the passenger seat too, so where it looks like Michael Myers is sitting next to me. Like, would anybody get mad about that? Or like, I don't think anybody would, right? It'd be kind of funny. I'm just trying to think of ideas because October is, with the exception of like Christmas Day, I mean, Halloween, like the month of October is like my favorite month of the year. I always do all kinds of things for Halloween month. Uh, I'm always like, I'm always watching scary movies throughout the whole entire month, scary TV shows. I'm trying to like cook things and bake things that are Halloween themed. I try to decorate as much as I can. And then, of course, you know, when it comes to Halloween day or weekend, I try to find different things to that I can go to dress up in. And then I love giving, you know, doing a, you know, standing outside my house on Halloween and giving out candy to kids and stuff like that. And I'll do that in full costume and everything. And I really enjoy Halloween. So I've been thinking, because this is my first October in, you know, in the truck, and I'm spending most of the month in the truck. I'll be home again for Halloween, and I wanted to be home for Halloween, so I made sure I made my work schedule work out where I could be home for Halloween. But so I'm like, well, what can I do to maybe make me feel like I can still celebrate Halloween? So this is one of them, right? Like, I can change the color of the lighting to make it feel more spooky. But I wanted to decorate somehow, but I've been trying to brainstorm ideas that wouldn't make anybody like mad that I decorated the, you know. But I figure, well, inside's fair game, right? As long as it's not obstructing my view, right? Like out the windows or anything. I think that I can do something that it would be kind of funny. And I'm kind of thinking about that skeleton idea or the Michael Myers idea. I'm thinking that might be the idea that I go with, because I don't see how anybody could get mad about that, right? Like, he's inside here, they're just right there. Like, I don't think anybody would get mad about that. I could be wrong, right? Somebody could get mad about it, but I don't think they would. But it would help me kind of help kill the monotony a little bit, you know, or kill the kind of not being able to be home for the month, where I usually, you know, will watch scary movies with friends and family and stuff, all that, you know. So I got to find some way to kind of help me kind of supplement that, you know, to kind of feel like I'm still able to be myself and do the things that I like to do even out here. So that's kind of what I'm thinking. Like, I'll probably watch a scary movie tonight. I don't know which one yet, but I'll probably watch a scary movie tonight, maybe another one tomorrow, maybe even watch 2 scary movies tonight. I'll have to kind of go through Hulu and Netflix and all those to kind of see what I might want to watch tonight as far as scary movies are concerned. Okay, well, if you've seen trucks with skeleton guys on there, I don't know if I want to be like everyone else, so maybe I might go ahead and make a stuffed Michael Myers. I think that'll be unique. I want to be unique too, you know, like I want to do something that's like, oh man, I've never seen anybody do that before. That's kind of funny. It would be cheaper to buy the skeleton though. I think those skeletons cost like $30 at like Party City or whatever. I don't think they're that expensive, as long as they're like the plastic ones and not like the actual ones that feel like bones. Then yeah, I think they're fairly cheap. But also, like, for the month too, like I brought some of my costume helmets with me, my collectible helmets. So I brought my in the thumbnail, it was my Spider-Man helmet. So I brought that one with me. It's the Spider-Man, the Iron Spider helmet. I brought that one with me just to kind of wear it for the thumbnails and stuff for the videos that I'm doing this month. And then I also brought my White Ranger helmet. I have up here too. I'll bring it down real quick. I brought my White Ranger helmet that I brought with me too. So I brought this one with me too, and I'm gonna use that for some of my thumbnails for some of my YouTube videos that I'll be doing this month. Kind of figure, you know, just something fun. Just something fun to kind of change it up a little bit for October, since I really like October. Thing is that these helmets, these are both from Hasbro. They make some pretty decent helmets for the price points that they sell them at. These are usually about $100 each, and they usually fit pretty good. Now, if you got like a big chunky head, it probably doesn't fit that well, but they fit pretty good. Pretty easy to put on, not too bad. They're pretty easy to put on, and they look really good. They feel really good. You probably can't hear me, but yeah. So it looks pretty good. It fits pretty good. I can see pretty good out of it for the most part, so not too bad. It's good for I mean, it makes it good for two things: for display purposes or for costume. Same thing with the Spider-Man one, it's the same deal. So and I have I think I have about three more, three other different ones at home. But I'm thinking about buying the. They made an Optimus Prime one, so I'm thinking about buying an Optimus Prime helmet. They made a Halo one, a Master Chief one. It looks freaking cool. So I was thinking about getting the Master Chief one too. I like collecting things like that, like real cool, like helmets and stuff. I really like the way that they look, and I try to display them at my house. One of these days, I'll take y'all on a tour. I thought about it, and I'm like, I don't know if anybody would be interested in seeing like where I live and how I live. But I have some cool displays like at home, so maybe one of these days maybe I'll do a live stream from home one of these days. And I'll show y'all what my home looks like. I won't give you the address because I don't, yeah, but I'll at least show you what my house looks, or what it looks like. I don't want people being creepers, and all that. But yeah, I figured I would bring a couple of these with me this go around, so I could use them for thumbnails for some videos and whatnot. I would actually do, like, obviously I can't drive with these on, but I would actually do like just some like videos and stuff with the helmets on, but there's no like mouth openings on any of these, so it covers the mouth. The only thing you get is like the nose holes to breathe out of the nose holes. So talking, it made me sound like, I mean, you probably heard how I sounded with the helmet on, but it makes me sound like I'm like muffled, and I basically have to be like yelling for you to help me. So the only way that I would be able to do videos with the helmets on is I would have to have a mic that I could put like near my mouth on the inside of the helmet, and that's just too much freaking work. So I'll just take pictures with them on, and instead of doing like videos with them. Yeah, man, it's been real cool, real nice day. This has been the first load that I got since I came back. It was a load going all the way from San Antonio, my hometown, all the way to here to North Carolina. So a good 1,400 mile run to start my work week. So I was like, damn, that's actually kind of nice. And that's why like when you asked me about those Tractor Supply runs, I mean they're alright, but these runs, like these 1,400 mile runs, I love these 1,400 mile runs, like ones like this that are at least 1,000 or more. I love them so much because all you do is just drive most of the time. I don't have to continuously be like get off the truck and unhook and drop it and go pick up another one, and then now I gotta sit here at the shipper now I gotta go to the shipper and I gotta sit here for 5 hours, and then it's just like, nah, man. These is like I pick up once, and then I drive for 2 or 3 days, and then I drop off, and then So it's nice. So these long runs, like I love these long runs. I hope that doesn't make me sound lazy, but it's nice to just be able to just drive for the most part and not have to worry about continuously making multiple stops, throughout 2 or 3 days that kind of slow you down from time to time depending on the areas and what you're doing. Yeah, the mattress is pretty nice. It's new and it hasn't been used before, so it's like extremely firm right now. So it's not like broken in yet, but I think once I break it in a little bit more, I think it'll be a little more comfortable. But I mean, even before in the other truck that I was in, I bought a foam, like a foam topper for the mattress, so that way it makes it a little bit more comfy. So it's not too bad. It's all right. Oh man, that would have been a good long run. That's a good long run, all the way from Ohio to Oregon. Yeah, that's a nice long one. I love those long loads. It'll be interesting to see what I get once I drop this off on Monday. I'll probably, if anything, usually they send you a pre-plan the night before you deliver your next one. So hopefully they'll have something for me tomorrow night, but we'll see. Sundays are kind of weird. Sometimes the planners will send you stuff. Sometimes they won't. Sometimes you'll just have to wait until Monday to get something. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes on that one. The trailer that I got was pretty nice too. I think it's a 2014, so not too old, but not too new, but not too old either. So I'll take it. We'll see. Usually they have you pick up from the same. I mean, you kind of know how it goes at this point. Usually they assign you something in the state that you're already in, or near the vicinity, within like a 1 to 200 mile radius that you're in, and then they'll take you out from there. So I don't know. We'll see if I get something in the North Carolina area, or if they send me down to like South Carolina or somewhere in the deadhead me somewhere in the area, more or less. I know they try not to deadhead you more than like 200 miles. I think they try to keep you from deadheading that much. It just depends on where you're at and what's available and whatnot. But I think the most that I've ever been deadheaded, I think it was like 200 miles. Most of the time I'm not deadheading any more than like 100 miles. More or less. But man, I am noticing lately that, I mean, obviously, we're about to be in the middle of October here pretty soon. Temperatures are changing, and it's starting to make me kind of be like, oh shit, like I gotta start pulling out the winter gear again, because I remember when I went to Crowder in Missouri, it was like the second week of November, and I remember during those 3 weeks, it started getting really freaking cold there in Missouri. And some of those days in Missouri during school, we woke up and it was like freezing balls outside. I was like, what the hell, man? It's cold as shit out here. And we were having to do like, all the pre-trip crap and everything out in the cold, like freezing our asses off. And all I had was like a little hoodie. And so now it's like I'm starting to kind of feel those temperature changes a little bit out here. And I'm like, hell, I'm going to have to start busting out the winter gear again pretty soon here. within the next month, because there's gonna be some of those days where I'm gonna wake up and be like shaking, freezing cold, and I'm gonna have to do pre-trips in like 30-degree weather again. In like 20, 30-degree weather, I have to do pre-trips again and whatnot. So I'm like, oh god, I'm not looking forward to that. I don't know if I asked you this, Cameron. I'm assuming that you are, but did you go? OTR, like 40 lower 48 OTR? Did you go regional? I'm assuming you went OTR, right? Like the lower 48. Yeah, I'm assuming you did, because you seem to be going around everywhere. But I could be wrong. Maybe you are regional. I don't know. I went OTR lower 48 because I that's what I wanted to do. Like, I wanted to see everything. I wanted to drive everywhere. I wanted to see things that I'd never seen before. Because I really hadn't been anywhere. Like, I didn't really travel outside of Texas very often or very much. So that's why I wanted to do just straight up OTR across the United States. Oh, that's interesting. Usually, if you request it, they usually put you where you want to be, but I guess maybe there wasn't enough drivers, or maybe they had too many drivers in that Midwest region. Could be. Because I'll tell you this, Cameron, as far as, because it's going back to something you said earlier to me, when you asked me if after my year was over, if I was going to stay with CFI. I'm not sure about that, but I have been putting some thought into something. And I've been putting a lot of thought into whether or not I want to stay lower 48 OTR or not. And because where I'm from, there's so many opportunities that we have to do regional driving in the South. Like, there's so many available opportunities for me because of where I live there in Texas with CFI. And the biggest reason that I've been thinking about it, and this is gonna sound really, really silly. You can call me what you want to call me. I don't care. Whatever everybody wants to think about me. But I've been thinking about it because looking back on it, I really did not enjoy my experience driving in the snow and ice. Which was driving up north in the northern states, Michigan, Wisconsin, Minnesota, even Ohio and Pennsylvania for that matter. I did not enjoy driving in those states during the winter. It was very, like, it was very nerve-wracking, and then maybe it was because I was a new driver. I'd never done this before, and I decided to start going to school and driving in December. Probably not the best choice in retrospect, but so I got like baptismal by fire, driving in ice and driving in snow and all that within my first like month of being on the road by myself. I had already done like a majority of ice and snow driving. Like, God, like I was so like I can tell you that I remember I was so elated when I came home for the first time, for my first home time after I got in my own truck, that I was going back to the South, because my goodness, it was like terrible driving all up in the north, all up in the snow and ice. And then of course when I came back home that first time, Texas got hit with a winter storm and it was icy and snowy there too. And I was like, what the hell? I was like, I can't get away from it. But anyways, but I was thinking about it, the other day, and I was like, man, like, because like I said, it's starting to get cold again, and it just got me thinking, like, oh man, we're not too far away from, from the northern states again, like Wisconsin, Minnesota, all those northern states, and then even, like Colorado and all them, from having to deal with things like freezing and ice and snow. And not just from a driving standpoint, because driving in it is bad enough. Driving in snow is not that bad. Driving in ice is absolutely terrible and scary. Like, especially with black ice in the dark, like, oh God, forget it. But snow's not too bad. As long as it's plowed, it's not a big deal. But even just from like your equipment, your brakes freeze. You have to pull out all of your chains, and God, like, you haven't put on your chains in like 12 months. So your chains have just been sitting there, and they've been getting rust all over them and everything. So now you got to go there, you got to pull these old ass chains that you haven't moved in like a year, and you have to pull them all out, and you have to make sure they're all still good to go, and then you have to get under your tractor, to get under the trailer. You have to knock the shit out of your brakes so that they can unlock. You have to winterize your hoses and everything, with antifreeze to make sure, to hopefully that your air hoses don't lock up. You have to hope that your heater works, and that your bunk heater works, and then all this other junk and everything that goes in with driving these trucks in super cold weather. And you have to just, to have to put up with that. I did it, right? Like, I did it those first couple of months. I did it, right? And I did it with as big of a smile on my face as I could. And don't get me wrong, the views were beautiful. Seeing mountains full of snow was just, it was so nice. And then hills of snow in Wisconsin. It was like white Christmas everywhere. It was beautiful, but scary and dangerous and not fun a lot of the times. And some of the times it wasn't even because of things that you were doing. It was because of what other people would do. Like the story that I've told before, where I think I was coming from. It was either coming from Minnesota, coming back down, and it had just snowed, and I was driving in the snow, and I was doing just fine, and I was just minding my business, on the right side of the road, just going in the snow. Visibility is already kind of meh, but I'm okay, doing all right. I got a good traction. I don't feel like I'm sliding. I'm fine. And then a truck passes me up on the left, and his or her tire spray, just of snow, comes right on my windshield, and I can't see anything, and I'm going like 50 miles an hour at least, and I can't, and I mean, just my windshield gets covered with snow, and I mean, I even have the wipers on, and it's still not like working fast enough. I have the wipers on, I have the defrost on, and it's just, I literally had to put the engine brake on max, slow down like a lot, and just keep the wheel straight, because I couldn't see where I was. And I didn't want to slam on the brake. It's obviously the worst thing you can do. So I just put the engine brake on max. I let myself come down to like almost like 10 miles an hour. Put my hazards on, and I just sat there for a little bit until I could get the windshield clear. And those are just the kind of things that, like, I look back on and I say, wow, I went through them and I did it all, and I drove through snowy mountains and I did all that fun stuff. And I'm like, but now I look back on it, almost 12 months later, and I'm like, do I want to do that again? Do I want to deal with that again? Or do I maybe just want to stick and drive in the south, where it might snow here and there, but for the most part, it's not going to snow that much. It's just going to be cold. But I can deal with cold. I just don't like the super intense ice storms and blizzards and stuff that happen all up in the north. I'm just like, I don't know if I want to do it again. Like I don't know. And it's and it's and it's one of and the other thing is too is that this is another way that I look at it too. Do I want to go through all that again for 47 cents a mile? Because regardless of whether or not I'm driving in the south or I'm driving in the north, I'm still getting paid the same, right? So last year I felt like I was, earlier this year or whatever, this last winter season, I felt like, I'm paying my dues. I'm paying my dues. I'm getting paid and all that, and this is my experience that I'm building up. But now a year later, I'm like, do I want to keep doing that for 47 cents a mile? I don't know if I want to keep driving in the snow and go through all the troubles that the heavy winter season brings for 47 cents a mile. I don't know. Something to think about, right? Like that's kind of where I'm at with that. So I am highly considering maybe before December about inquiring about regional opportunities that may keep me more closer to the South and the Midwest versus having to drive up north. For anybody that loves doing that and continues to do ice and snow driving up in the north, dude, more power to y'all, man. I don't know how y'all do it. I don't know how y'all enjoy it every year, but I don't. I enjoy how everything looks. It's beautiful, but it makes this job 10 times more harder when you have to deal with all the stuff in those heavy, intense winter temperatures. That's another thing that's crazy, is that a lot of the shippers, they try to, but a lot of them don't plow their lots. So you'll go to, like when I went to FedEx in Minnesota, they didn't. I mean, they salted their lots, but they didn't plow them. So there was snow all over the damn place. And I think if you go back on my channel early on, it might have been a video that I recorded. Probably, I think it had to have been in January, just January or February. There's one that I'm there at that Minnesota FedEx location, and just looking at it, you can see the snow everywhere. Like a lot of the places they don't plow, they'll just salt their areas and try to melt the ice as quick as possible in the snow. But a lot of them they don't. I mean, you'll just go over there and you'll just see snow everywhere. You can't even see the lines in a lot of these places. You just have to kind of guesstimate sometimes where you're backing up a truck into, because you can't even see the lines covered in snow. Some of them though, I will say, they have a plow and they'll plow their areas, but a lot of them don't. A lot of them will just salt the ground and just try to melt it as fast as possible. But you'll go to places and you'll just see white everywhere, and it's just have fun. And it's just one of those like have fun kind of things. Like that's all you can do, and just guesstimate everything, because you can't see lines anymore, and all you can see is just trailers and trucks and white ground everywhere. It's insane. It's crazy, actually. Same thing with truck stops. If you think truck stops are bad right now, think about how they are during the winter. It's the same damn thing. They're all like you can't see where you're going. There was one truck. I went to a Petro, and this was actually the first week out. I always go back to this because this is the worst. This was the best and worst week of truck driving that I ever had, and it was in the first week of me being at OTR, because the first week that I went OTR on my own was in the middle of January in Minnesota. In a snowstorm, in a blizzard. That was like a 2 or 3 day snowstorm. There was snow everywhere. So that night, coming back from Minnesota, in the same 24-hour period, this is a great story. In the same 24-hour period, that was the same night that the guy tire sprayed me with snow and almost practically made me run off the road. Scary. Then when I started seeing that the snow was getting really, really heavy, and I was like, I can't drive anymore, it's probably a good idea to stop because I think this blizzard's about to kick up. And so I stopped at a Petro in Minnesota. I can't remember exactly what city it was, but it was somewhere in Minnesota. And I stopped at a Petro, and I drove into that Petro, and it was full of snow. And all you couldn't see the path, like all you could see was tire tracks, and that was what you would use to kind of figure out, okay, this is the road because here's all the tire tracks here, so this is the road, right? And the curb has to be somewhere over here because there's no tire tracks over here, so you just got to follow the tire tracks to make sure you don't hit curbs or anything at that point. But everything was just white. The whole entire lot was white. And the only thing that you could gauge to park was other truck and trailers. So when I parked, I didn't even know if I was parking in I didn't even know if I was parking in an actual spot. I just saw a truck, and I saw that there was nobody parked next to him, and I said, I'm gonna go ahead and park here. I didn't even know if it was an actual spot or not, or whatever. I just saw that it was an open spot next to a truck, so that's where I'm gonna park. But it was just full of snow. I couldn't see any lines or anything. Sure, if I wanted to, I probably could have got off and tried to with my hand, tried to brush off snow and see if I could see lines, but it's freezing balls cold outside. Why the hell am I gonna do that? So I literally just parked next to the truck, and then I put my brakes on, and this was my very first time dealing with this, right? I'd never, even when I was with my trainer, we didn't really deal with this kind of snow before. We dealt with snow, but not this kind of snow. This snow was deep. I know now that it wouldn't have happened, but then when I put my brakes on, right, I swear, I think my mind was just playing tricks on me, but I swear I could feel the truck sliding as I was parked. It didn't move. I'm sure that it's fine, but I never dealt with this before. So in my head, I'm thinking, oh shit, my tires are parked on ice, on snow and ice, right? Is there any traction? Is my truck just gonna start sliding backwards? And am I gonna wake up in the morning and I'm gonna be smashed into somebody's truck? Even with my brakes on, right? I'm just freaking out. I'm thinking and then every time I feel I'm I think the truck's moving, and I'm looking out the window and I'm trying to see and y'all can laugh at me if you want. This is fun. This is the funniest thing about that night too. I got so freaked out about that, and wondering am I gonna slide at night? I'm parked, right? I got the but I even went outside, and I went behind one of the tires, right? And I made a line in the snow. I made a line in the snow, and I said to myself, okay, in 30 minutes, I'm gonna come back out. And if it looks like the tires are getting closer to that line, then my truck's moving. It's not still. It didn't move. It was perfectly fine. It was perfectly fine. The truck didn't move. It stayed in the spot. It wasn't gonna. And this is before. This is before I had bought wheel chocks. Now I have wheel chocks. So anytime that I have any concern that my truck might be moving while it's parked, even though it should never do that, as long as you have the parking brakes engaged. But then I can put wheel chocks as extra security, and I never have to worry about that. But yeah, that night I was so freaked out because I thought I didn't have traction on the ground. I thought that I was gonna wake up and that I was gonna be like slid either like down the way of the lot or rammed into somebody. I just feels freaking out because I'd never seen anything like this before, and it was like, and sure enough, like I stopped, and then I think it was like 10 minutes later it started blizzarding, like it just showering snow. It was coming down so fast. I don't think I'd ever seen snow come down that fast before in my entire life. I'm from South Texas, so I'm lucky if I see an inch of snow in any given year, but like I'd never seen snow come down like that. And so I was just kind of freaking out, like, what's gonna happen with my truck? Like, is everything okay? You know, all that, and it was very interesting. And then, so then I went, you know, what was nice about that night too is that it was my first time, it was my very first time, if I'm not mistaken, at a Petro. I'd never been to a Petro before. My trainer, for some reason, didn't really like to stop for the night at Petros. He always preferred Loves or Pilots or Terminals. Can't remember a time that I was with my trainer that we ever stopped at a Petro. I don't know what he had against them, but he never stopped at a Petro. We stopped at a I don't even remember. I'm trying to remember if we ever stopped at a TA or a Petro. Maybe. It's hard to remember that far back now, but I always remember us usually stopping at Love's, a Terminal, or a Pilot. Very rarely, if we ever did, I don't know if we ever stopped at a Petro or a TA. But so that was my first time like at an actual Petro, and I was like impressed because I went into the Petro, and that Petro had a bar restaurant, and I was like, God dang! So I had myself a nice little steak dinner there, and like in the freezing snow, as I'm looking out the window and I'm just watching that snow like pour down, and thinking to myself, yeah, I made the right decision in stopping for the night already. Because I could have kept going, but I was like, I don't know if I want to drive through any more of this blizzard. So, but yeah, I ate at that restaurant. It was delicious, and it kind of spoiled me in thinking that, man, this is what all Petros probably look like, huh? No, they all don't look like that. Some of these Petros are like, whoa, yikes, okay. I'm not doing anything here other than just, you know, taking a leak and then going back to the truck. Oh man, like Cameron, that Petro that we were both at, that one in was that Ohio, right? I can't remember what city anymore, but that one in Ohio that we both actually met up in, that one wasn't too bad of a Petro. It was actually kind of nice. The inside was actually kind of nice. That one there had a gym on the inside, which was something I haven't seen from very many Petros. It had a gym. The barber there, I got my haircut there, and that lady was super freaking nice, man. She was awesome. I mean, she gave me a nice haircut. And then that one is the very first and only Petro that I've ever been to. There might be more out there that actually had a basketball court on the outside. And the only reason I found out about it is because I was sitting there waiting for my haircut at the barber shop thing, and there was a paper sign like on the wall there as I'm sitting there watching the little TV thing, and there was a paper sign on the wall, and I read it, and it said, basketball court for drivers, ask for basketball basketball court located by the fuel by the pumps or whatever. Ask cashier for basketball. And I was like, basketball court? I was like, what the hell? It's like, I haven't seen a Petro with a basketball court before. And I mean, I didn't see anything in the diesel island. And I was like, where is this basketball court? So the next later on that day, or was it? It might have been the next. It was later on that. Yeah, it was later on that day. I went to the cashier and I asked them, "Where's this basketball court?" And they're like, "Oh, it's right here out front." It was over by like the normal gas pumps, like the ones for the cars, and it was literally just out there, like in the farthest part of the lot. And I said, "Oh, do you have the basketball?" And she was like, "Well, I don't see it anywhere." So she asked her manager, and the manager came by and was like, "It's usually in this like cubby area." It was like full of fucking boxes. And I was like, at that point, I was like, I mean, you don't have to go to the trouble. And they were like, "No, I think it's here." So they pulled out the boxes, and sure enough, the basketball was like deep in there. And it was a real dingy, like, it was a leather basketball, but it was already like all worn. So, you know, it was all white and everything. But beggars can't be choosers, man. So I was like, it's a basketball. There's a basketball court. I'm gonna go take advantage of that because you don't get that out here very often. And I love basketball. Basketball is my favorite sport to play. So yeah, I took advantage of that for a while. But I thought that Petro was pretty nice in comparison to some of the other ones out there. That one was pretty nice to go to. Everyone was super nice there, and had all that one though. Although it was a good Petro, it wasn't a big one, but it was a good one. The one thing that I noticed there that one didn't have a fountain drink station. I was looking around for it and I was like, is there nowhere like to get a fountain drink here? And there wasn't. So maybe that was a sign to Marie not to drink soda that day. There was a fountain drink dispenser in the smaller shopping center where the fuel island was for the diesel trucks. There was a smaller one there, but not in the big one. There wasn't in the main one. There wasn't a soda dispensers. But anyways, like, yeah, man. I mean, I kind of went on a Petro tangent there, but yeah, even truck stops in the snow are just ridiculous. Like, you can't see anything. You can't see where you're driving or where the parking spots are. And then good luck walking through it. You know, once like you've parked and you want to go use the bathroom, you have to walk through the snow. It's cold. It's wet. You know, you're slipping and sliding everywhere as much as you don't. As you're trying not to, even if you have boots. It's just, yeah, it's not fun. And so, yeah, it's like I don't know if I want to go back to. I don't know if I want to go back to winter driving this year. I'm kind of thinking that I may just, I don't know, something to think about. Hey, what's up, Blues? Dude, my night's going amazing. I actually ended the day. I started driving today at about 6 in the morning Eastern time, and I only had to drive for about six and a half hours to get to North Carolina from where I was at. I think I ended the night last night in Alabama. Yeah, in Alabama. No, was it Alabama that I spent the night last night? Where was I last night? No, last night I was in Georgia. Yeah. Last night I was in Georgia, right outside of Atlanta, about 30 minutes out. And then, so yeah, it was about 6.5 hours to get over here to North Carolina. And so my day ended at about 1:30-ish. I think I got here to the truck stop. And I've been here ever since. I already went and showered. And then I just came over here and just been chatting it up on the chat here, so. If you did blues, I may have lost track of it. I would definitely be interested in it. So if you wanna pop the, if you still have that link, feel free to pop it here in the chat so that I can go ahead and save it and look at it. But I don't remember if I actually looked or not. A 3-in-1 would actually be very, very helpful, to be honest, because I already have a bunch of appliances. I feel like I already have a bunch of appliances, and it does get really difficult to store them and to like make space for them. Because I already have a microwave, a rice cooker, an electric skillet, a coffee maker. And having all those is like, you have to find spaces for them all over the damn place. So being able to condense it a little bit would actually be kind of nice if I could make it happen. I'll look it up. I'll see if I can find anything that looks like it. As long as I have the brand, I might be able to find it. I might be able to see if I can find it, see if it, I'll also look up that channel. Yeah, I'll look up the channel, that person's channel too, and I'll see if I can find that video and see if, because I would be interested in something like that. If I'm already looking to buy a air fryer, having a 3-in-1 would actually be kind of nice. The more compact I can keep things, the better. So. Especially now, because it is really nice now to have 2 fridges instead of 1, because now I have double the freezer space. So this last go around, when I went to the grocery store the other day, I bought 2 packs of proteins. I'm usually only able to buy like 1 pack of protein because that's about as much space as I have to freeze, the meat. So I have to pick and choose. Like this week, if I want to eat chicken, then I have to just buy chicken. I can't buy, like steak meat or anything like that. And then I have to wait, a week or 2 whenever I can get to another grocery store after I'm done cooking the chicken and whatnot, then I can buy that. But now with 2 different fridges that both have freezers in them, I can buy multiple types of proteins and freeze them to where they don't go, I don't have to cook them so quickly, and I can store a lot more than what I used to. So it's a lot better. So now that I have that, I'm definitely going to be more involved in cooking in the truck than I have been in the past. I'm usually pretty good about doing that in the first place, but now more than ever, I'm going to be more invested into buying food to cook in the truck. And so having more different kinds of cooking utensils that could possibly make cooking easier for me, I'm always for that. So I'll definitely be looking that up. To see. Okay, I'll look it up. Thanks for that. I appreciate that, Blues. I'll definitely look up the link for that. Oh man, how long have I been on here, guys? I've been on here for quite some time already. I think I've been on here for like, what am I going on? Oh my god, I'm almost at 2 hours. Yeah, I started this stream at 5. It's already almost 7. Man, I swear it doesn't even feel like it. It doesn't feel like it when you're having fun and you're talking with friends. It doesn't even feel like I've been on for 2 hours. I enjoy, obviously y'all know I enjoy talking, and I enjoy talking to my friends. I consider y'all all my friends, so I enjoy talking to y'all. I enjoy conversation. It helps kill the loneliness out here sometimes, And not everybody, out here are nice sometimes. So it's hard to make conversation sometimes out here, because most people that are out here, I get it. you have a purpose. You're in and you're out. You're not there to make conversation. But I'm a conversationalist. I like to make conversation. Yep, Blues. I'm coming up on my 1-year anniversary with CFI. Tomorrow, I believe, would be my official 10 months with CFI. Like officially, like since I signed the contract. Be 10 months with CFI as a CFI employee. It'll be 11 months in about a week that I went to Crowder and that I started school. So, I actually looked it up on my I think on my Facebook. It gave me a memory from last year, and on this day last year is when I went to the DMV to actually apply for my CDL permit and take the test. So that was kind of neat to see that memory come through. So I'm coming up on having a year with like having the piece of paper, you know. That's kind of cool. And I'll never forget that day either. That day sucked, to be honest. I was at the DMV for close to about 4 hours before. It had to have been at least 3 to 4 hours before I even got into the chair to take the test. And by the time I got into the chair to take the test, I think I was just so frustrated and so just tired from waiting and having this anticipation of taking this test that I think I didn't have full focus. And I think, if I'm being honest, that I was more concentrated on I just want to get the hell out of here. And of course, because of that, I failed the first exam, and then my day was over. So when I left the DMV that day, I felt a little dejected, a little disappointed, but at least I knew, because they had told me you can come back tomorrow and do it again. So I was like, okay. So I mean, I went home and I felt kind of bad that day, and I was, like I said, I was a little dejected, a little depressed. But I made sure that night that I studied a little bit more, that I got plenty of rest, because I was gonna go first thing in the morning. As soon as I was gonna wake up at like 6 in the morning. The DMV opens up at 7:30, so I'm gonna be there in line at 7:30, ready to rock and roll. That's exactly what I did. So I got up really early. I went back to the DMV the next day, and or the next available day, because I think I took my first test on a Friday. So I don't think I was able to come back until that following Monday, I think. So I think I had the whole weekend to test and whatnot. I think. I can't remember. It's hard to remember. But anyways, the next time I was able to go back to the DMV, I went straight to the test. Didn't have to go through all the waiting and craziness. And then sure enough, 1, 2, 3, 4, boom, passed all the tests in one shot. My permit. So so I felt much better that next time I went to the DMV. But it's just interesting to see that memory from a year ago, and it's like, man, I can't believe it's already like all of this, doing all of this, right? Like wanting to become a truck driver, and all of this stuff went into motion about a year ago. It's crazy that it's already been that long already. Yeah. I know that there was that was a big thing with running paper logs, is that you could run pretty hard if you wanted to. Yeah, you could run pretty hard if you wanted to, and no one would tell you nothing, because they just check your paper logs and it looks like that's good. Can't do that with ELDs now. Yeah, they'll get you right away, put you out of service. A little bit harder now, right? Sorry, I gotta plug in my iPad, make it charge a little bit. That's a comic book. That's funny. Yeah, I mean, I will say this: truck drivers nowadays. Now, granted, the only truck driving that I ever knew about from back in like those days, like the '90s and the early 2000s, was from my grandfather. But he was really just like a local driver towards the end of his, towards the back end of his trucking career. So I think through most of the '90s, and then leading up to his retirement in the early aughts, he was just doing local driving for ABF, where he would go from San Antonio to, like, I think the furthest he said he would go would be like Beaumont, almost like the Lake Charles area, and then he would make the runs back. And he didn't really go that much further. So I don't think he really had to deal with like having to, mess with his paper logs and stuff like that to make it work in his favor. But hearing just how he used to drive versus how I drive, it's like, ooh, man, over the past 20 years, I mean, yeah, this is heavy regulated now on truck drivers. And it's kind of crazy, to be honest, now how it is. But hey, Blues, I appreciate you coming out. And with that, like, I think I'm gonna be with you, Blues. So I appreciate y'all for the join to the stream today. I just wanted to pop on for a little while. It ended up being like 2 hours, just to say, same thing, say hi and talk with y'all and whatnot, and answer any questions that any of y'all might have. It's always what I'm here for. So, but I appreciate y'all for coming out and joining me here for a little bit, kind of helping me stay company out here. As always, though, if anybody wants to speak with me outside of these live streams, you're more than happy to. You can find me on Instagram at Johnny Trucking. You can also follow. You could also join the Discord server. The link for the Discord server is in multiple videos in the descriptions. You can find the link and join there. It's free, no charge to join the Discord server. And you can message me directly through there if you want. If you need to ask me anything outside of these live streams, and I'll typically answer you pretty quickly as long as I'm not driving, obviously. But yeah, other than that, guys, I think I'm gonna go and cook some dinner here because I'm getting pretty hungry, and then I'm gonna watch some spooky movies. I don't know which movie I'm gonna watch just yet, but I think I'm kind of feeling maybe the original Halloween to start off. Maybe I'll start off with the original Halloween, and then maybe Halloween 3, because I like the Season of the Witch. So yeah, I think I'm gonna watch those two tonight. But hey, guys, y'all stay cool out there. I'll talk to y'all later, okay? Laters.